Joining me now is my panel. Again, I've got company. Broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and editor and contributor of the Turn Left Media, Ben Mclaine. Thank you very much for joining me. Now, thankfully, Lizzie, it's been quite calm in Liverpool.
Yep.
It seems to have dissipated now. The point has been made by the people protesting outside the hotel. We are hearing reports from Bristol that it's not quite as calm as it has in Liverpool. Do you think that these people have a right to be protesting outside these hotels?
Without a shadow of a doubt. It's affecting their lives, their communities. They're scared. I've talked to the mums and, you know, outside in my, near my village, outside the hotel in Aldershot, and they're just worried. They're scared. They can't let their kids walk home from school. And one of the mums told me that her oldest daughter left men's shoes outside the front door because she wanted, if anything happened, they'd think there was a man there so they'd be safe. This is how frightened they are. And I don't think people realise how bad it is. And this government isn't listening. You know, Keir Starmer's saying smash the gangs. I've noticed he stopped saying that now because, you know, he's not even smashed the top of his boiled egg at the moment. It's really, you know, the government doesn't seem to be listening or caring. And we've got, like, I think it's over 210 of these migrant hotels dotted around this country. What is this government going to do? Is he going to appeal against all of them? What, you know, this is out of control, Dawn, and this government isn't doing anything about it.
OK, Ben, the government isn't doing anything about it. We have young girls worried for their safety, simply walking through local towns and villages. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reason for young women in this country to be worried about violence from men, but typically the violence from men that they face are going to be the men close to them. As I mentioned in the previous segment, 200 women's organisations signed a letter saying you need to stop pairing up migrants and violence against women and girls because the two are not connected in typical circumstances, and the constant conflation of the two on both sides of the political spectrum is causing problems for groups like Refuge.
Can I just add to that, though, Baroness Casey, in her report onto rape gangs, did link asylum seekers and sexual assaults on women. So there is a link, and that was Baroness Casey. That's not anyone else just saying that.
I would have to review the Casey report in order to comment on it, really. But what I would say is that no one likes the asylum hotel system, right? And it's often forgotten that Robert Jenrick and Priti Patel were the people who brought in the asylum
Conservatives,
hotel system,
absolutely, yep.
in order to deal with a backlog that they had created. In my opinion, it was to distract from their economic failures. That's my theory on it. I don't have any evidence to back that up. But I would say no one likes the asylum hotels. Like, the refugees are kept there on £7 a day. They get an allowance of £7 a day. They're kept in squalid conditions. It's more like a prison shut off from communication, while the hospitality sector make loads of money.
I disagree with you totally.
And it's run by... of course, I'll let you respond in a second, but... it's run by Serco, Mears Group, Clear Springs, groups that are making money off of this, a profit off of the British taxpayer, and the British taxpayer is paying excess to pay the profits of these companies when that money could be being invested into integrating them properly into the local community. It could be going towards mental health support, which would benefit local communities like, for example, veterans associations. Local veterans associations could be being helped by the same schemes that we need in order to help migrants integrate into the community.
OK, Lizzie, a couple of points there. Four-star hotels in the UK are evidently squalid, and is there a deterrent in anything you've just heard Ben say?
I'm just going to say you're wrong there. I'm so sorry. I'm going to buy you a sat-nav because you've lost your way. There's that hotel near me is a four-star hotel. Let me tell you, they are being well looked after. I knew this hotel because it was used for weddings, birthdays. I used to go there often. Now it's full of middle-aged, you know, young military-aged men from Afghanistan. And if you can't understand why the village that I am around aren't happy with this, and it's affecting everyone's life, from the doctors, from the schools, in every aspect. And we can't keep... Yes, the Tories didn't get in. They had the worst 14 years. That's why they're not in government. But the Labour Party can't keep harping back to, it's their fault, it's their fault. They knew what was happening. What were they doing in the meantime, in the sidelines, just sitting there twiddling their thumbs? You know, Keir Starmer, he's been in power for over a year. What is he going to do? Smashing the gangs? It ain't happening, is it?
No,
so look... and listen, please, Keir Starmer, if you're watching the show, to the people. You know, because that's why they're protesting. You know, their mums, their nans, they're dressed in peace, you know, pink. They're doing it peacefully. And yet they're getting called, you know, right-wing Nazis. You know, no one's listening.
Well, you can be right-wing and wear pink. Those two things aren't in contradiction with each other.
They're not, are they? They're just worried for their own children, for their families.
I think they can be worried and they can have concerns, but whether or not those concerns are legitimate kind of rests on the evidence. Now, you're right to say it was a 4-star hotel, but when it's being used for asylum accommodation and people are being crammed into rooms with people that they don't know and subject to being given...
Well, many of our own
literally
homeless would be very happy with that. Many of our veterans that are lying on the streets, not getting anything...
I agree with you.
Would be very happy of that room, very happy
agree.
to get the free dental treatment, getting money from free mobiles. They would...
I agree.
But this government isn't looking after its own people.
They don't get free mobiles. That's not actually true.
This government isn't putting its own people first, and that is fact. And that's why we're seeing the protesters out there today, and it will go on and on, because let me tell you, this is turning ugly, Dawn. It really is, because people have had enough.
So let me just ask, what's the scheme that gives them free mobiles called? Because I can name you the scheme that the pensioners get. Pensioners can claim free mobiles. If you don't know, it might be worth you knowing, through the Digital Inclusion Innovation Scheme. Pensioners in this country can literally, if you're on a state pension, you can claim a free mobile. I'd encourage anybody who's listening
Why
to this
are you comparing
that
pensioners that in many cases have contributed to the economy and paid tax their entire working lives to people that entered the UK legally? Why is that a comparison?
So it's a comparison because in this case, what we're talking about is free devices, and the ability to attain free devices is not given to asylum seekers because they're asylum seekers.
So why bring pensioners into it? Contributed all their lives.
It's given to them because they are low income, like state pensioners. It's not just pensioners; it's state pensioners, right? And the way that asylum seekers attain free mobile phones is through the National Data Bank scheme, which is run by the Good Things Foundation, which is a charity, and they give out mobile phones to ordinary British citizens who are low income as well.
I'm so sorry.
It's based on the income.
First order of any government is to look after its own people. This government isn't doing it. Look at the homeless situation. Look at the veterans I've spoken about. You know, I'm sorry. This isn't right. This is why people are protesting. You're the same as Keir Starmer. I'm sorry. You're not listening. You're not watching what's going on in your own country. No, and you can't understand why people are so upset. They're worried and they're scared.
I'm not.
I'm going to leave.
I contradict you.